Welcome again to another episode of Sweetcast. I am Clint, and today we are going to talk about the craziness that is happening on Twitter, and more broadly, the craziness that is happening surrounding anti-Comicsgaters. Now, Renfamous, we've heard of Renfamous a lot lately, but man, if you scroll down on her Twitter feed, everything is just, they're claiming victory, and it blows my mind. This one is such a beautiful tweet. It says, so apparently Mark, this is a fake tweet. I can't even see who sent this originally. Oh, diversity in comics, even better. Oh, I love this. So he tweeted this out. Obviously, this is tongue-in-cheek, but Mark Waid is just too unstoppable a force. We're just scared, and we are quitting before he destroys us even further. And in my dreams. And apparently Mark Waid signed this for Renfamous. And the funny thing about this is Mark Waid is living in a hole right now. He popped his head out of that hole just for a moment, just to get on the Nerdist and for chat to eviscerate him so he could beg for money, which didn't come. I mean, there was no bump in donations to his GoFundMe, but chat ripped him a new one. It was so beautiful to be a part of that. I made a video about that already called Mark Waid versus Sweetcast. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But yeah, they're just gloating as though they've won some kind of victory. And what they don't realize is Comicsgate achieved its goal. Comicsgate told the industry that we don't want their garbage political propaganda in our comic books. They ignored us. And so Comicsgate gave birth to a new industry, and we're seeing that industry bloom. Now, I'm not just talking about all caps comics. I think that's great. I hope that Ethan does well and that other creators get on board. I hope that goes well. But I think there's more. There's a lot more because there's so much will out there for more good comics to be made. Here's another one. SJW Spider-Man. He's been everywhere, and he's making stuff up. I mean, really, he's grasping at straws. I think Meyer is losing it. And if you watch this video, I don't want to show you because I'd rather you go over to Diversity in Comics site, give him the views. He's doing what he always does, tearing apart comics verbally and sometimes physically, and in such a cutting way. He's telling the truth. He's ripping apart these awful comics. So yeah, give him a view. But yeah, it's he's doing what he does. SJW Spider-Man is somehow claiming that that's helping him. And again, you'll just go down here and it's constant gloating and just dumping on Comicsgate. So this tells me I'm not worried. I'm actually quite happy because people like this, they don't want to fight this fight anymore. They're done. So they're going to claim that they won. This just reminded me of elementary school. Playing games out at recess, and you're going to claim, oh, game over, I won. So they can claim the victory, and they're done playing. Well, we're not done playing. We are building something new, and it's going to forever change comics in the future. So I'm fine. Bow out because we're just getting started. And I think in a way, Marvel did take notice, and I think I've got proof for that, and I want to show you. But first, I'm going to do my first ad here. I'm not being paid for this. I'm actually not allowed to monetize just yet on YouTube because I don't have enough subscribers. So I'm going to be using my platform to promote some indie comics. So Octal Magazine is a really great way for indie comics creators rather, to get their work out there. The way that it works is you prepare an 8-page pilot story. So this could be a pilot story that would lead into a full-fledged ongoing series, or it could be a mini-series, or a one-shot even, whatever you want. This is just a little pilot 8-page story. You have completed art, you've got your whole creative team. You put it into Octal, and they actually have a great editorial staff. They're not going to necessarily tell you what you need to do with your comic, But if it's not up to par, they will send it back to you and tell you to make it better, which is great because these are quality stories, quality comics. Now, I can't speak to the political, if there's any social justice ideology that's being pushed in any of these. Honestly, that's for you to look and determine. We don't need some gatekeeper telling you what you can and can't read. However, I can tell you that these are indie creators that are just trying to tell good stories. I mean, a lot of these are passion projects. So you can actually buy the different volumes yourself and read them. Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. You can read those yourself. Check them out. See if you like them. Or if you've got a comic that you're creating and you want maybe another route to go, maybe you're not ready to do crowdfunding or you're not making any headway going for traditional publishing, this is another outlet. So Octal Magazine, check it out. And back to our story. So this is my evidence, I think, why the social justice authoritarians are afraid of Comicsgate and what it means. So on-screen representation, or we'll say in the pages representation, it's really important to them. And a lot of this stuff is grown inside of higher education. That's where comic pros are being brainwashed into it. And that's why it's becoming such a huge thing that's affecting everybody. So rather than creating a new story with, representing whomever you want, whether they're male, female, whatever race you want, whatever abilities, disabilities, whatever you're talking about, rather than creating those things, they have this, what I call the sandcastle effect. That is that once somebody builds a nice, beautiful piece of intellectual property, they will weasel their way in and get on the top and try to promote their politics there on that platform that was created without their politics, and hence they will basically destroy that sandcastle. So Marvel Films is such a sandcastle. Whether you like the Marvel movies or you don't like the Marvel movies, they're making a lot of money. A lot of people worldwide are watching them and enjoying them because it's selling a lot of tickets. It's not my opinion, that's the truth. I happen to enjoy watching most of the Marvel movies. They're entertaining. They're not political. They don't feel preachy. Everybody's worried, though, about Captain Marvel. Now that this sandcastle has been built, is now the time for them to deploy social justice politics and destroy that beautiful sandcastle that was created with just solid storytelling and wide appeal? I think the answer is no. Disney knows that it didn't work with Star Wars. Something's got to change with Star Wars. The politics were too much for people to handle. And this cash cow that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it is going to crumble if they make this film really heavily social justice oriented. I think their fears, I mean, I don't want to say for certain that it's not going to be, but I really believe that it's not going to be political. And that's because they know it will destroy everything that they've built. Especially because these movies are watched worldwide. They want other audiences like China to enjoy them. And, China's not really into those kind of politics. So they are absolutely going to make these so they are as palatable to as many people as possible. I really think this is true because the Black Panther movies, everybody was worried that they were going to, be very political. There was some politics in Black Panther, but, the interesting thing was that our protagonist was more like a Trump figure than he was like an Obama figure. The villain was more into, racial discrimination and police brutality, things like that. And he was the villain. So, yeah, there was representation there for people that are black. But the representation, it wasn't like they co-opted something that already existed like Marvel Comics is doing. Black Panther has always been Black Panther. So they told the story. And I enjoyed the film. It wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't super political. It was fine. I don't think Marvel's going to ruin this because they've tested it out in the comics and they know it's going to cause a even worse backlash if they do it in the films. Okay, last but not least, for those of you who are into writing comics, I'm trying a new format and I just wanted to give you a little writing challenge. You might remember from Mark Waid being on the Nerdist, he at the very, very end when the camera was cutting, you got this little look from Mark looking off camera, lifting his hands up, and you can only imagine the conversation that happened as soon as the camera went off. And so I wrote a little script for that to show us what happened. Panel 2, close shot on Waid. The interview is just ending and Waid is looking past the camera, shrugging in a bewildered expression. So that's what we're seeing. Off panel, the host is speaking. Until then, have a great day. Bye. Panel 3, Waid jumps to his feet and looks sternly past the lighting crew at Zaid. Waid. Well, super lawyer, what are they saying now? Zaid. I think you should sit down, Marky. Waid. Tell me, how many likes did I get? Zaid. Waid, relax. You know your IBS acts up in situations like this. And I've got to apologize. I'm not a great voice actor if you've watched my little skit video I did, but it's kind of fun to write. So if you're into writing comics or you want to learn how, this is a great exercise. Write out a few panels. Tell me what happened after the camera turned off. This is your starting point. And what I'd love is if you write that out, just write a few panels, description and some dialogue. Hit me up on Twitter and send it to me. Take a screenshot or whatever. Or if you'd rather, write it in the comment section below. I would love to see your handiwork with the situation. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. I think we're passing, by the time I post this video, we should be at or around 100 subscribers. So thank you so much. I really feel the momentum building. Please subscribe if you liked my content, share it, and let me know what you would like to see in future episodes. I will see you next time.